Good afternoon. I should say good morning first. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is, wherever you may be. I hope it's a good day for you. I'm M.A. True. Welcome to my podcast. And I'm titling this podcast, not just the segment, just in general, common sense. Just want to talk a little bit about common sense. I think that ever since COVID, common sense has just walked out. Like Elvis left the building, common sense has left the brain. Nobody thinks anymore. Nobody. I know that's a broad statement, right? Okay. How about the general consensus is that a majority of people do not think anymore? Nobody's thinking. Why? What's wrong? What happened to our brain? Did COVID chew up the gray matter? Did those injections, taking those vaccines, did that do something to our thinking processes? What is happening to folks just using common sense? Perfect example. We've all witnessed the trial of the century, this century, and um, with the former uh, president. He's not president now. He was, and that was by a fluke. Nevertheless, 12 people, everyday hard-working folk in Manhattan, New York, sat in that courtroom, listened for 6 weeks to the shenanigans, the mayhem, and the foolishness generated by one individual because he wanted to make his way into the White House, which he eventually did based on a lie. He didn't want the American public to be aware of his, extracurricular activities. And I mean, that's nothing uncommon. People do that all day. Folks are screwing Joe and Josephine, and that's all day long. However, there is this misconception that the president is supposed to be perfect. Nobody is perfect. There are no perfect human beings. We are all flawed in one way or another. Nevertheless, these 12 individuals listened for 6 weeks to corroborating evidence from others that were involved in this mayhem and foolishness. Those that were witnesses to it and those that participated in different aspects of it. And they decided 100% that this man committed those crimes, that he was liable, that he was the the centerpiece of this stuff. And yet, and yet, those individuals finding him guilty within the constructs of the law, there are many, too many, that don't seem to think there's anything wrong with what he did. We're going to vote for him anyway. Why? Why? What has he done for you? What has he done to protect you, average, everyday American? This man walks within the halls of money and finance. You got any? I don't. Since he was in office, my taxes have gone up. I don't make enough to have a down payment on a donut. However, he has ruined this country. He has sown seeds of hate. Not that hate wasn't already there, but because of his attitude and his position, he's made it seem like it's okay to be openly hostile. I hate everybody. I was mistreated as a child. My mother didn't love me. I can understand why, because you're an ass. Okay? But thinking, just thinking, is anybody thinking about what was done? The Republicans are supposed to be the what the group of honor and law and order. They're supposed to be so hung up on doing the right thing. By whose estimations and whose standards? You don't even want to hold this man's feet to your own fire. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any common sense. Mm, yes, that part. There are other instances of not using common sense. In the uh, work that I happen to be involved in, to earn my keep, so to speak, we get calls from people, just everyday questions that we have to ask in order to facilitate the services for these people. Oh, get mad when you ask them, "Can I have your name and the address associated with your membership?" Don't want to give the name or give a first name. Don't want to give the street, or in many cases, because someone had bought their membership for them. I don't know the address. My grandparents bought. You tell me you don't know where your grandparents live? Come on. I told one man, young man, we made it a joke, but I was serious. He said, "I don't know my grandma's address." I said, "I'm going to tell. I'm going to tell grandma you don't know her address." My grandmother, bless her beautiful soul, has been long departed for some 35 years. And I remember her address to this day. To this day, I remember my grandmother's address. But y'all don't remember you don't remember your grandparents, whoever bought this thing for you. You don't remember shit, right? Or here's another one. You can't tell who I am. No, not until you tell me who you are. And then they get mad. They get angry. They get upset. They pissed off because we're trying to confirm that you are who you say you are. Just asking for the standard information. Come on now, what you mad about? Use your common sense. Where is it? It has gone. Hey, Elvis, the saying, Elvis left the building. Elvis said, "I'm not part of that shit. It wasn't me. That's on them. I had nothing to do with that." Somebody, I done left the building. Mm-mm. They left the building. Common sense, everyday thinking. We live in a country based on laws, supposedly, based on what is deemed to be right for the whole. Ain't nothing right about it. It's all rigged. It's all it's a lie. We live in a country based on lies, and when these lies are exposed, then we have the minions running to cover it up or to change the laws so that people can feel like, well, it's okay. You know, they try to change history. They want to throw the books out the library. I mean, come on, people, come on. Common sense, common sense. Saw a video one day, um, Instagram, TikTok, or something like that, and this gentleman was talking to some of the MAGA people, and he was speaking to them. He addressed um, the books that are being, taken out of the classroom, and how did they feel about certain books being put in. And he brought this up to this one um, man and this woman that were together, and he says, "Well, how would you feel if there was a book about a father who had sex with his two daughters?" He said, "That's incest." He said, How would you? The daughters got the father drunk and they had sex with him and they both conceived children. So how would you feel about a book like that being in the schools? Oh, absolutely not. That's absolutely horrible. Oh, heaven forbid that. Oh, that's not right at all. That goes against the doctrines of the church and blah 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 blah. It's in your Bible, fool. It's in your Bible. That book that you claim that you cherish so much. That book that you cherry pick bits and pieces out of it. The King James Bible is a perfect example of what's been cherry picked, mistranslations of the books that are in there. They don't know the language. They King James, had his people hook it up to do what he wanted it to do, which was to continue to subjugate his own people, keep them under his thumb. Okay. And then those same people that were oppressed brought their asses over here to the Americas and oppressed the people here and are continuing to oppress the people here. That is why I think that they put in separation of church and state. I was upset about that. I'm a Christian. Do you know what that means? Do you live what that's supposed to mean? No, you don't, because you're full of hate and you don't bother to even research your own book. I have many Bibles. I have the Septuagint. Uh, uh, I got a bunch of Amplified, King James. I got so many of them I can't even begin to count. And I have read them, and I still read them. And I compare them to other writings that predated that manipulation. Okay? And it's all manipulation when you think about it. Like I said, common sense. Old folks used to call it mother wit. Where's your mother wit? Spirit within. This is M.A. True. Thanks for tuning in. And I promise I'll be back with some more little tidbits, some more little things to add, some more things to talk about. And also, please know, I'm not asking anybody to agree with me. You don't have to. I don't want you to. I want you to think for yourself. It's a tool that's been used previously. It's called critical thinking. Many folks don't want you to do that anymore. So I say to you, please think critically and use your common sense. This is M.A. Truth. I'm out.